Hello, Rezan. How are you today?
Fine, and you?
Very well, very well. Your second cousins have arrived in Berlin. I was just talking
Oh,
to them.
really? I'm
Yeah,
glad.
yeah. They said it was a very, very long day going from Mardin to Istanbul and then Istanbul to Berlin, all in one day. They did
Oh,
everything in one day.
it
Their
must be.
house is not ready yet, so they're staying with some of Hussein's friends until they can move into their house. But they sound happy. They're dressed with lots of sweaters and things, so I guess it's cold in Berlin. So,
It must be.
yep. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well, actually. Everything is perfect. And so
I've
what about
heard
you?
you are on a break right now, right?
Yeah, for 2 weeks and a day.
Yay. Congratulations. Now,
Thanks.
my students in Taiwan and in Japan always have homework assignments to do over break. What about you?
Actually, at the high school, we don't get any, but my brother gets.
Really? So Bauer
Yeah,
has homework and you don't?
yes, actually. Because they don't give that much things. I'm actually working for quizzes and the other stuffs.
Okay. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your 2 weeks off. Are you doing
Thanks.
anything special or going anywhere special during this time?
I don't know. My father said maybe you guys can go Istanbul, but I think we not because why we can stay at home. It's better for
Okay.
us.
Okay. 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 All right. Rezan, let's take a minute and remember what we did last week. We talked about this word, which you can pronounce two different ways and it means two different
Yeah.
things. So, what was this word?
Um. Here is one means the things that the waters that came out from ice, and
Right.
a second. Um. Is it something like I don't remember the other meaning.
Like I have this little piece of paper.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
You break something into smaller pieces. So, I will tear the paper, and that's pronounced tear. And then this one is tear.
Okay.
Tier.
Here.
Okay. All right. And we also talked about a
Okay.
memorandum. What does it
A
mean
memorandum.
if you get a memorandum?
Memorandum. Um. Memorandum. It's something like about memory.
Right. Because it is a note or an
Yeah.
email or a text to remind
Oh,
you so you don't forget. Rezan, before I go to my dentist the day before, I always get a memorandum as a text message. And it'll say to me, don't forget your appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. And please bring this and this with you. And that is a memorandum. Okay.
okay.
All
I
right.
got it.
Now, uh, you live, do you live in Ankara,
Yeah.
in the city itself? Okay. So
Yes.
I am guessing, because I think this is true in all big cities around the world, there are a lot of taxis and Ubers and Lyfts in Ankara, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, actually.
Do you ever use them?
Mostly transportation,
Okay.
public
Okay.
transportation.
Now, I want to show you something about taxis. Now, I live close to the city of Atlanta in Georgia. And so,
Yeah.
right about here. And Atlanta is
Yes.
quite a big city, quite a big city. And one thing that they introduced a few years ago are these, and this is called an autonomous taxi. And some people call it a driverless taxi. And you notice it has a W on top. That's the name of the company, Waymo. And
Waymo.
let's suppose you were visiting here in Atlanta and it was time for you to fly home to Turkey. Well, you would take your phone and use the app and order the taxi to come to your hotel, then you unlock it with the app and you get in and you use the app to, Atlanta Airport, Turkish Airlines and everything, and it would drive you there, but there are no people. Everything is controlled by what you order on your phone, and the car drives itself. There is no driver. So it might seem a little unusual to you because you're seated in the back seat and there's no one in the front seat. Now, in all honesty, so if you were here, would you do that? Or would you prefer a traditional taxi with a human driver? What do you think?
Actually, to get in an AI driver taxi is going to be enjoyable, so I choose the AI.
Right. It would be exciting. It would definitely be exciting. Now, I'm old enough that I could be your grandfather. To me, I don't understand that technology, and it would make me kind of nervous. I think I want a real human driving the car. That's just the way I am. Okay. So here's why we're doing that. Okay. Can you say autonomous? Autonomous.
Autonomous.
Okay. Now, Rezan, this we've talked about before. What do you remember about OUS?
Adjective.
Right. It is a sign that this word is an adjective. So you know right away it's not a name, it's not a place, it's not something you can do, it's not a verb. So it is an adjective. And are you familiar? This is called a prefix. Are you familiar with the prefix auto and what that means?
Auto means the things that automatic.
In this case, yes. But auto actually means self.
Okay.
Okay. So if I said to you, Rezan, you need some auto control, what I'm saying is you need self-control. You need to control yourself. Now, you don't. You're very self-controlled, but that's what the word means. Okay. So autonomous means it controls itself. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll put it in the chat. Oh, and you notice in the word itself is the word self right there. Okay.
Okay.
Runs by itself. And it can also mean this. Okay. Oh, and I spelled that wrong, but you know what it is. It's independent. I spelled it wrong. Okay. Okay. So, and there it is correctly. Okay. So it can also be independent. So let's give an example. It's not bad to say this about you, but right now you are not autonomous.
Yeah.
Because you still live at home with your parents, and your parents give you a home and provide food and things like that. Now, in 10 years, you might be autonomous.
Yes.
You might be living on your own. You could have an apartment. You might have a car. Who knows? But you could be autonomous living on your own. Now, what would it mean if I said Turkey is autonomous?
Turkey is self-control.
Right, right. You're not controlled by the Russians. You're not controlled by some other country. You are your own country with your own government. You are an autonomous nation. Okay? Now, one last thing. The word autonomous is actually very similar to this.
Automatic. Yeah.
And are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one last thing. As I've been talking about the word autonomous with people, a lot of people said that they have something in their house that is autonomous, that they have an automatic, autonomous floor cleaner. Do you have one of those in your house?
No, actually, they are bats. They can't do that much pretty cleaning.
Okay. But do you know what I mean? That it's a round thing and it goes around and it cleans the floor and stuff like that. See, we have carpets on our floor, and those things are better if you have a solid floor like tiles
Yes.
or wood, and we don't have that. So that is an autonomous cleaner. All right, Rezan, excellent work. Now today I have been so excited about two really, really amazing astronomy pictures of the day. So let me show you this one. And I think you can figure this out pretty easily. You're smart enough to know. What do we have here?
Jupiter and no. Oh yeah, it's Jupiter.
Right. Now, can you imagine why it's these colors? You know enough about Jupiter that you know this is not the correct colors.
Yeah. Maybe the sun shines directly, or
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
With
Okay.
Photoshop or
Now,
something.
I want you to notice this. Oh, I see when I put the cursor on it, you don't see the
Yeah.
name, but there are the names. Okay. So this is using infrared light.
Yes.
And you know that infrared light shows us about temperature.
Oh.
And so this shows us that the southern aurora and the northern aurora are warmer,
Yeah.
okay, because they're glowing a little bit. And this, which I think is a star, is warmer. And so that's, kind of bright. And so
Yes.
we see this is an infrared picture showing warm areas on Jupiter. Now, let's see if you remember this. Earth also has auroras. What
Yeah.
do we call them?
Same, northern and southern.
Right, so the northern lights and the southern lights. Okay. Now, I want to teach you this to make sure you know this in English. Okay, see that?
Ouroboros.
Aurora
Northern.
Borealis is the scientific name, but most people call them the northern lights.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to know that because I hope that someday you will go take a lot of science, and I want you to know the scientific name. So Aurora Borealis. Now the other one, when you see it, it's going to make sense.
Australis.
And
Oh.
what does that word look like?
How can I say it?
What's that big island continent? What is that called?
Australia.
Right. And you see, Australis is the
Yeah.
adjective form of Australia. And you know,
Yeah.
Rezan, that Australia is completely in the southern hemisphere.
Yes.
And so they name it after that. Now, can you imagine the other name of the Aurora Australis? Okay, take a look.
Southern lights. Oh.
Makes sense, doesn't it? That would be the
Yes.
southern lights. So I thought that picture was really amazing, and it shows you. And by the way, this is what I said. Okay, infrared light.
Infrared light. Okay.
Okay, and that's the kind that shows a lot of heat. Okay, then one other picture I wanted to show you from the other day. You see that?
Oh.
Yeah. So this picture was taken by the Solar Dynamics Laboratory, which is orbiting the sun right now. And this right here, let's play it again. It's only 3 seconds long. You can see that huge eruption coming out of the sun. And if one of those eruptions reaches Earth, what happens?
First the atmosphere will burn, and then this lava is going to burn Earth fully, and we're gonna
Okay.
die.
Rezan, I want to just make sure you realize something. This is coming from the sun, and so it is not lava. It is gas.
Actually, yeah, but it's looking
It's
like lava.
extremely hot
It's
gas. And what it does is, as it approaches Earth, it causes the aurora borealis and the aurora australis to be especially bright.
oh, only
And
this?
so that's why, even if now, like for example, even here's the North Pole way up here. I
Yeah.
see way down here in North America, because
Yes.
when one of these things happen, the northern lights are spectacular. Bright.
Oh,
I saw them in 2024. They had a big one, and I was watching, and it was like pink in the night sky. It was amazing to see, almost like a pinkish purplish color. Also, unfortunately, one of the bad parts, sometimes it makes radio, television, and internet signals get glitchy.
oh,
So this is
bad.
when you're trying to talk on Cambly and suddenly the picture goes out and then the picture comes back and stuff like that. Or you hear a lot of sounds like that kind of sound, and you don't like
Yeah.
that. So unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. All right, are you ready to go on?
Yes.
All right, so we've been looking at the twin study, and the idea that how do you age when you are in space? Do you age slower? Do you age faster? And so now we're looking at the results of this study. And Rezan, would you read that paragraph about we saw?
We saw that telomeres were longer during space flights. This happened for all four crew members. We also saw that telomeres shortened quickly when they returned to Earth. This happened for 3 of 4 crew members. At 45 and 62 days post trip, we saw all 4 crew members' telomeres gradually return to near normal lengths.
So the longer you're on Earth, and that's pronounced telomeres, your
Okay.
telomeres eventually return to their normal length.
Oh.
But that was 3 out of 4 astronauts. So on one of them, that didn't happen. I wonder why. So which of the 2 time periods are most similar, and what does that tell you? So the average trip, pre-trip, during trip, 1 day after trip, post-trip, which 2 bars are almost the same?
Pre-trip and post-trip.
And what does that tell you?
I don't know. I'm not that much smart.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay. It says that before the trip and after the trip, eventually your body returns to what it was before.
Oh.
Okay. So, Rezan, if you spent a month in space, you would get a little bit taller. But after several months back on Earth, you'd be back to the same Rezan. And if your DNA changes slightly when you're in space, maybe not the next day or the next week or the next month, but a few months later, you would be back to normal. Okay?
It's bad. Okay.
That's a good thing. You'd be back to normal. Okay. And we'll do the discussion next week. I think that was a good start for now. Okay. So, Rezan, you remember that Brian is running out of fuel.
Yeah.
And he's having great difficulty finding a landing place. Why is he having such a difficult time finding a landing place?
Because there isn't any lakes, nearly any lakes in front of him.
Right. So he sees one, but he sees a lake and it's off to the right. And so he realizes the plane is coming down fast. He has to make a decision. And so the last thing we read was this, and I'll read the last thing and then you take over. There, Not quite in front, but slightly to the right, he saw a lake, L-shaped, with rounded corners, and the plane was nearly aimed at the long part of the L, coming from the bottom and heading to the top. Just a tiny bit to the right. He pushed the right rudder pedal gently, and the nose moved over. Now, I want to say something about this right here. If a plane does not have the engine working and you turn, the turn makes you slow down and you fall faster.
Yeah.
So suddenly the plane is falling faster and Brian gets a little bit scared. Go ahead, butt the turn.
But the turn cost him speed, and now the lake was about the nose. He pulled back on the wheel slightly, and the nose came up. This caused the plane to slow dramatically, and almost seemed to stop and wallow in the air. The controls became very loose, feeling and frightened Brian, making him push the wheel back in. This increased the speed a bit, but fields and windshields once more with nothing but trees, and put the lake well above the nose and out of reach.
Is he going to reach the lake? For a space of 3 or 4 seconds, things seemed to hang, almost stop. The plane was flying, but so slowly, it would never reach the lake. Brian looked out to the side and saw a small pond at the edge of the pond, and at the edge of the pond, some large animal, he thought a moose, standing out in the water, also still looking, so stopped. The pond and the moose and the trees, as he slid over them now, only 300 or 400 feet off the ground, all like a picture.
Then everything happened at once. Trees suddenly took on detail, filled the whole field of vision with green, and he knew he die, would die. But this luck held, and just as he was to hit, he came into an open lane, a canal of fallen
Channel.
uh, channel of fallen trees, a white place leading on the lake,
So as he
leading to the
approaches the lake, fortunately, some of the trees had fallen down. Maybe there was a big storm or something. And so he's still going towards the lake. Go ahead, the plane.
the plane commi- committed now to landing, to crashing, fell into the white place like a stone, and Brian eased back on the wheel and braced himself for the crash. But there was a tiny bit of speed left, and when he pulled the wheel on, the nose came up, and he saw in front of the blue of the lake, and uh, at that instant the plane hit the trees.
There was a great wrenching. That means like tearing, ripping, as the wings caught the pines at the side of the clearing and broke back, ripping back just outside the main braces. Dust and dirt blew off the floor into his face so hard, he thought there must have been some kind of explosion. He was momentarily blinded and slammed forward in the seat, smashing his head on the wheel.
There was a great
Right here, then wild.
then a wild crashing sound, ripping off metal ends. The plane rolled to the right and blew through the trees, out of out over the water and down to slam into the lake. Skip was on water as hard as cos-
Concrete.
concrete water that wrote the windshields out and shattered the side windows, water that stove him back into the seat. Somebody was screaming as the plane dove down into the water. Someone screamed, tied animals screamed of fear and pain, and he didn't know that it was his sounds that he wrote against the water that took him and the plane still deeper. Down in the water, he saw nothing but
But sensed.
But sensed blue, cold blue, green, and he wrenched at the seatbelt, catched through his nails, loosened one hand, he ripped at it until it released, and somehow the water trying to kill him and to end him. Somehow he pulled himself out of the shattered front window and climbed up into the blue, felt something hold him back, felt his windbreaker tear, and he was free, tricking free, ripping free.
So the plane has crashed. Just before it hit the water, it hit some trees and it broke the wings off. So the wings are gone.
Yeah.
It landed in the water, and when it landed, it hit so hard, the windshield, the front window, broke. And immediately the plane filled up with water, and Brian couldn't get out because he had his seatbelt on. So he pulled and pulled, the seatbelt popped up, and he pushed his way through the front window. His windbreaker, his jacket, tore when he pushed through the front window, but he's out. He's out of the plane. I wonder how far underwater he is. Let's see. But so far to the surface, and his lungs could not do this thing, could not hold, and were through. And he sucked water and took a great pull of water that would finally win, finally take him. And his head broke into light, and he vomited and swam, pulling without knowing that he was, what he was doing, without knowing anything, pulling until his hands caught at weeds and muck, pulling and screaming until his hands caught at last in grass and brush, and he felt his chest on land, felt his face in the coarse blades of grass, and he stopped. Everything stopped. A color came that he had never seen before, a color that exploded in his mind with the pain, and he was gone from it all, spiraling out into the world, spiraling out into nothing. So Rezan, when he finally came out and he took a breath of air, he vomited. Now, do you understand what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so blah, and all the water and stuff came up, okay? And he pulled himself out of the water. Finally, he's in weeds. Muck is mud, because you know where the water and the mud mix, it gets real mucky.
Yeah.
When you and your brother put muck all over you, remember those pictures you sent me?
Yeah.
That's muck, okay? And he finally reaches land and he passes out. He has fainted. Do you understand faint?
Yes.
That?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's alive. He's not conscious, but he is alive. He has survived the plane crash. What does he have with him?
Nothing.
Nothing, except one thing. What is on his belt?
I forgot the name.
What's the name of the story?
A
hatchet.
hatchet.
He has a hatchet. That's all he has is his clothes and a hatchet. See you next week, Rezan. Bye-bye.
See you, Miss Bernie. Bye.
enjoy your vacation.